Titanoboa's nightmare fuel. Imagine waking up to find a shadow eclipsing the sun, a colossal serpent thicker than a car, its scales shimmering like obsidian in the humid swamp air. That, my friends, was the reality for the unfortunate creatures sharing the Paleogene epoch with Titanoboa cerrejonensis, a snake that grew longer than a school bus. Forget your garden variety pythons. This was a nightmare given flesh and scales. The sheer size of the thing is enough to induce primal fear. Picture its muscular coils crushing the life out of a crocodile, the sickening crunch of bones under its immense weight, and the eyes, those cold, black, beady eyes, staring into your soul as it swallows you whole, a slow, agonizing descent into a digestive tract the size of a small cave. I've spent sleepless nights contemplating the sheer terror these creatures must have instilled, a constant, lurking threat in a world already overflowing with prehistoric horrors. We're talking about a snake so big, its prey probably included smaller dinosaurs. The very thought sends shivers down my spine. The fossil evidence paints a grim picture, a landscape dominated by colossal predators, with the chilling implication that even larger specimens might have existed, lurking in the shadows of the primeval swamps. Think about that the next time you see a tiny garter snake. Now, that's a whole lot of nope. Evolution's biggest joke so far. So, you're telling me that the most efficient way for a snake to evolve into a bus-sized monstrosity is climate change? Seriously? Mother Nature's sense of humor is as twisted as a pretzel dipped in battery acid. It's like she said, hey, let's make the world hotter and see what wacky, giant things crawl out of the swamps. And what did she get? A snake that could probably swallow a small car hold. The sheer absurdity. I picture some prehistoric deity cackling maniacally as Titanoboa slithers across the landscape, a monument to the chaos of natural selection. It's not just the size, it's the sheer pointlessness of it all. Like, what evolutionary pressure necessitated a snake that could crush a car? Did they evolve to be so big just to see if they could? Were they just showing off? Were they secretly plotting global domination? Did they have tiny little snake hats and tiny little snake top hats? Did they participate in a giant snake version of musical chairs? Did they go to snake therapy? Was their therapist a terrifyingly huge frog? Probably. And these were the days before the asteroid. What a laugh riot. The snack-sized apocalypse. Forget the dinosaurs. The real horror of the Paleogene was the Titanoboa buffet. Picture this. You're a delightfully plump crocodile, enjoying a sunbath near the riverbank. Suddenly, a colossal shadow looms over you. Before you can even scream, you're engulfed in a suffocating embrace, the massive coils squeezing the air from your lungs. Then, a leisurely swallow that would make even a black hole jealous. And that's one crocodile. Multiple fossils indicate that Titanoboa preyed on a diverse range of animals, turning the prehistoric ecosystem into a giant game of who gets eaten by the bus-sized snake. It was survival of the fittest being the ones who didn't cross Titanoboa's path. And I bet the sheer terror of the constant threat altered the evolution of those other species, as a matter of course. They started to evolve into tiny, terrified things, terrified of everything. The constant anxiety probably added years to their lives, or something. The irony, of course, is that Titanoboa's reign of terror was relatively short-lived. But before it ended, it was the apex predator, the scariest, largest, most terrifying thing in the entire swamp. The metabolism of madness. Let's talk about the sheer biological impossibility of a snake this size. I mean, the metabolic demands alone. To sustain a creature that massive requires an unbelievably high caloric intake. We're talking about a food chain of almost industrial proportions. You'd need entire ecosystems dedicated to producing enough food for this behemoth. Think about the internal organs, the digestive system, the circulatory system, the sheer volume of blood required to pump throughout that monstrous body. This isn't just a big snake. It's a walking, slithering testament to the bizarre, often counterintuitive possibilities of evolution. It's like nature decided to throw a giant, scaly wrench into the gears of biological feasibility, just to see what happens. Did it utilize a super efficient digestive system? Did it have a specially modified respiratory system, allowing it to absorb maximum oxygen per breath? Did it even need to breathe at all, given the size of this thing? Did it sleep for months and years at a time? Did it dream? Did it know what it was? We'll never know, and I'm starting to think that might be for the best. The ghost of Gigantophus. The extinction of Titanoboa remains a mystery, wrapped in a riddle, inside a colossal snake. Climate change played a role, no doubt, but did some other, more sinister force contribute to its demise? Did a sudden shift in prey populations leave it starving? Was it prone to some bizarre genetic defect that finally caught up to it? Or maybe Titanoboa simply became too successful, its own unchecked growth leading to an ecological collapse. A self-inflicted extinction, so to speak. A cautionary tale whispered on the winds of the Paleogene. The terrifying implication is that something even larger could evolve one day. And then what? Will we be nothing more than snacks for some colossal horror? A meal smaller than an ant to the giant snake of the future? I am now suddenly deeply convinced that this is only the beginning of a truly terrifying trend, and that every future human will be constantly looking over their shoulder. The ghost of Titanoboa haunts us still, a reminder of nature's boundless capacity for creating both beauty and utter, terrifying monstrosity. That's it for today. I've got more freaky evolution videos coming, so smash that subscribe button and stay weird.